Here we go. It's time for another Santa Anita Pick'em preview. We've got the Wolf of Oakmont here, Chase Sessoms, Gino Bacola, and we are going to help get you all set up for the Saturday Santa Anita Pick'em contest. We love these things, Chase. Every Saturday, every Sunday, every holiday Monday, $500 to the winner. Doesn't cost you a cent to enter. And right now, there are so many sports going on. These are contests that combine props from a bunch of different sports: horse racing, basketball, college basketball, football. In this one, there's a hockey prop. Also, I think we had all of those sports in this particular contest. So these are a ton of fun. If you know horse racing, if you know sports, I mean, you have to get involved. It's free.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like if you're like me and you like, just sitting in and going over the racing form, but also researching everything about sports that you can at the, sacrifice of your personal relationships and personal hygiene, then man, this is the contest. Prove that you're the best handicapper regardless of species.
And you can, finish dead last. It's not like you have to pay an entry. It's not going to hurt you at all, but they have added more prizes now. So there are cumulative prizes. If you're someone who ends up playing in these things all the time and you continue to stack your points, you'll be able to pick up money at the end of the meet. So you'll basically get rewarded just for remembering to play every day. And we're going to be here every Friday right at this time, 6 o'clock Eastern time and 3 o'clock Pacific time. We are going to get you all set up. There's still racing at Santa Anita going on Friday. Chase and I actually just talked about over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about some of the races that are happening, give you some of our thoughts as well as help preview this pick'em and get you all set. So we like doing it early on this Friday evening. That way you have plenty of time to enter. Here's what the front of the page looks like when you go to pick'em.santanita.com. So pretty simple. You can check out all the rules below. It gives you all of the specifics. If you make the most total selections there, you can win another $2,000. You get all the bonuses, 1 point for each successful selection. So keep in mind, this is a pick one. You get one correct for each thing, for each question you answer correct, Chase. And so when there are horse racing questions, when there are questions that are involving games and teams, you're not going to get rewarded for, playing an underdog, or necessarily you're not going to get penalized for playing a heavy favorite. It's just about making sure you're right. You just got to stack wins.
Yep. Just make sure that you're on the right side of whatever question that they're asking you, because that is the most important thing. And I mean, it's like playing in a handicapping tournament for horses. Like, you hit, do you have to swing at that 50-1? Probably not. If they cap off payments.
Exactly. If there's a max point where it doesn't really matter, then, so again, like every contest that you're in, any kind of game like this, we always want to make sure that there are going to be some spots where, okay, let's just take the logical spot here, right? But if you do that all the way through, you're probably never going to win these kind of things. Right. You have to, and that goes for all the handicapping and gambling that you do, right? You're someone who has to pick every race every single day for a track. And I've done that before for multiple tracks all the time. And so you can't just play against the favorite every race, but you also can't just play the favorite every single race. You got to go back and forth, right?
Sometimes you just have to embrace your inner chalk eating weasel, man.
Yep. And then sometimes you got to say, you know what? I'm zigging when everyone else is going to zag. And I just want to get a little bit contrarian, because I know that's where I can make money. So here's a look at what it looks like on the Santa Anita Pick'em page once you take a look at the prop. Now, always, we'll remind you 2 or 3 times throughout this: tiebreaker, 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 tiebreaker. So Chiefs Broncos game on Saturday, we have a couple important football games, teams that are still playing to try to get playoff seeding. Kansas City still has an opportunity to get the number 1 seed. So we can see one of our props is going to be about Kansas City and the Broncos right below, just picking the spread of this game. What would you do for the total yards? You can see my number there. I went just over 700. I kind of went for Denver's been really struggling lately to move the ball without Teddy. I do think Kansas City I kind of projected them in the around 400-ish, maybe just over. But I don't know how much Kansas City really is going to try to light them up. Once they get up, they probably don't want to, get any injuries. I don't know how much they want to worry about beating them by 40 and having 600 total yards. So I had like a little over 400 for KC and a little under 300 for Denver. It's kind of where I went.
Yeah, I ended up right around your total, but for some of the same reasons, I kind of thought that I probably needed to adjust it down a little bit. So I ended up, and also once again proud of myself because this doesn't end in a 5 or 0. 696. I sat on 696. Yeah, I thought Denver could run the ball quite a bit. And also it seems like it's a team that Kansas City like inexplicably has problems with sometimes too.
Yeah. So we're talking about this game, that's prop number 1 is the spread of this game. So a lot of times when these prop contests get put up, it's a little earlier in the week. So if you are just looking at the lines and playing the movement, you can notice, or sometimes things will happen, injuries. We're in a crazy era now where players will be missing all the time for COVID protocols. And when that happens, lines will flip quite a bit, 2, 3, 4 points. This game is pretty close right now to what this number is. I think right now it's around 11, depending on where you would look. So what would your opinion be on Kansas City minus 11 on the road playing Denver, 11-point home dog, or 10 and a half here, 11 right now. 10 and a half is what the number on the prop.
I'm going to take the opportunity to zig early here, and I'm actually going to go with the Broncos plus 10 and a half. Like you said, if it gets down to it, they, either they get up early and they pull the starters early, or Denver, like I said, who has a habit of inexplicably giving Kansas City a game, actually comes out there and gives them a game. Not to mention, I mean, the Broncos seem to be a little bit more run focused. I think they'll use a little bit more clock if they can actually get things moving on offense. I thought, especially after seeing, on the website, they're nice enough to give us the percentage of people who chose each selection, seeing that 70% or, 70% took the Chiefs. And I see a way that the Broncos can actually cover that. I'm all over them with only 29% of the other, people in the contest.
This is one that you can see where I locked in, but this is probably one that I've been the most on the fence about. And I may end up, when to make any last adjustments at the end, I may end up going the other way. This was probably because I agree with you about almost all of your handicap in that. Kansas City, I think, is going to win the game. Obviously, they have a lot to play for. And if this game is close, then, they're going to be playing late because they're going to want to – what's nice for them is they know if they win, then even though it's a little bit of pressure, they do put pressure on Tennessee. Then Tennessee doesn't play till Sunday. So that's a good spot to be in for Kansas City, knowing that at least for a day, you're in a good spot. You did everything that you could.
Absolutely.
But once they're up like that, the number is key. If this was 9, like I'm 1,000% on Kansas City. 9.5, I probably am too. But the number in my head to where I think they start to like maybe take their foot off the gas is 17.
Yeah.
And if they're up by 17 and they take their foot off the gas, then Denver could backdoor this thing, and that's where you cover. So that's what is tricky for me, because why do they care about beating Denver by 30?
They don't.
What if Mahomes twists an ankle? What if somebody that's key at that point gets hurt? Like, you get out early, you score 4 times, and then get out of there.
Yeah, I don't see them risking the honey badger to try to keep like a shutout in place or anything like that. It's you have the Super Bowl on your mind if you're Kansas City. It's I think it's a great spot for an underdog.
Yep. So that is prop 1 on the 12 total props plus the tiebreaker for Saturday. We continue on with another of the Saturday football games. So second game on the day, Cowboys Eagles, over under 42.5 total points in this game. So what we do know about this game, Chase, is that it really doesn't matter for either of these teams.
Right.
They're both in. Dallas has secured the division. Philly is going on the road no matter what. Dallas could move up and kind of play a different opponent and maybe have a slightly different road. But I don't know if that's something that they're going to be worried that much about. They're dealing with a lot of COVID. On the flip side, they haven't looked very good. About 5 weeks, and out of those 5, one of the weeks they were awesome against Washington, and the other 4 they were not great. In particular, Dak. Where do you go in this spot?
I mean, even if they were playing this straight up and there wasn't any sort of playoff implications involved in it, and it was just them meeting in the middle of the season, with the way that they're both currently playing, I would play the under, and I still would play the under. I think it's super under at this point because, first of all, with the COVID, most likely, the people who are out for COVID, a lot of it is the offensive line for Philly, who is based pretty much in the rush. Like, that is what they do, is they run the ball right now. I think that Dallas will essentially have to score the entire 42.5 themselves. And they haven't been really clicking on offense either. And I don't think that they're probably motivated to do it. So I almost feel like the under is I'm not going to use that L word that everyone uses, but it looks good. The under looks good.
Yeah, in this, we're going to get to the line of this game, I think, in just a bit. But this is another one where, sure, I think Dallas would like to look good here, right? But are they going to want to chance anybody getting injured? Like, if you're Philly, why is Hurts going to be in this game more than a series or two? Right. And I can understand, with a team like Green Bay, we hear Rodgers really wants to play because, Peyton Manning even mentioned this the other day. You don't play this week, and then you got to bye next week, and then all of a sudden it's 3 weeks that you don't play, and you're a little bit rusty. So you can kind of, maybe a little bit, but that's still, like, it's just not worth it, I just don't know if it's worth it. And I think these two teams, why are you trying to do anything creative? What are you're trying to show your playoff opponent some new schemes or anything like that? Nope. I'm going under. Absolutely under.
Which means that we're gonna get burned by Minshew magic. That Gardner Minshew is gonna throw for 7 touchdowns.
Minshew mania, no doubt about it. So we go to hockey. Wolfie, we got a hockey prop. Let's get some hockey analysis from you here.
So little fact, I'm a Rangers fan because they won the year that the original Mighty Ducks came out, and that was really when I was in my prime hockey watching. But we have the total goals scored in the Rangers versus Ducks or the Red Wings versus Kings. Which one is going to have the most goals? And I actually leaned Rangers versus Ducks. Just looking at what their goals per game average was, it's a little bit better than what the Red Wings and Kings were doing.
Both of those teams are better than both of the other two teams.
Yep. And if you go back and just look through their performances, especially for the Red Wings, crazy inconsistent. They might score 6 goals a game, but they're more often going to score 1, 2 things, things like that. So Rangers versus Ducks seem like the way to go.
Totally agree. Yeah, same thing. I mean, basic analysis, but like, I'm just going to look, and it's something that you look at and it was like, oh, okay, they're both scoring more. I'd imagine they're probably like 70 or 80% picked. But when you see that it's this close, then of course you feel like, well, I'm absolutely going to go that way if the numbers point me that way and it's even close to a split, So, yeah, that a little hockey moving in here. So cool to get a little hockey action. Let's get to little Santa Anita racing for Saturday. So, which race on Santa Anita's Saturday card produces the highest win payout? I picked race 5. The field has picked race 9 so far, 43%. Race 4 is also getting a lot of love at up around 14%. Which race do you think will produce the highest win payout on Saturday at Santa Anita?
I think this might be the first question where I opted not to be a contrarian jerk. I kind of think it's the 9th. That feels like just an absolutely wide open maiden race. Also, I have a theory and belief that is by no means rooted in any sort of data that crazy things always happen in the last race, no matter where you are.
Everyone's getting a little loosey-goosey for the nightcap. Cheers, matey. Nightcap it up. That's
yep. Yeah. I think we'll get to it later, but I've got a pick that corresponds with that theory in the final.
Okay. I like that. So I'm going to go with race number 5, and let's pull up the DRF past performances and show you on Formulator why I went with race number 5, because it's actually the next prop. Also, prop number 5 is, who do you think will win race number 5 on the Saturday card? So while we can just hit race 5 while we're here. I picked race 5 because I like the 4, Fly the Sky, in here. And I think that this horse can win at around, 8-1 or so. Now, what I'm worried about is just the presence of John Velasquez, maybe just knocking that price down. But in the race, this is a horse who's got like some hidden form, because he has had legitimate trouble. Now, I'm a little worried because the trouble has happened now in multiple races where this horse seems to just have bad beginnings over and over and over again. Fly the Sky is the number 2 in this race that we're going to watch right here. Fly the Sky just has a brutal start. I mean, it's over. Horse isn't even on your screen here, and we're sprinting 5 furlongs. It's actually pretty impressive that Fly the Sky makes up all this ground just to get back in the race, and only within a few lengths. Fly the Sky is still not even on the screen. And so it's just how bad of a beginning is it going to be for Fly the Sky again, because you see it off slow again, off slow. It was more than being off slow, though, in a lot of these races. Like this one, you're just in trouble here. But even then, like, look, you kind of head towards the inside and you kind of run right into some traffic right when you're rolling,
Right.
It's not like you're going to win this race, but now you're sort of in between and you angle out. I need a little bit better beginning for this horse, but Wolf, if I can get like around 8 to 10, 8-1-ish or so on Fly the Sky, that's why I'm going to answer the prop number 4 with race number 5. And this will also be the horse that I pick in a contrarian selection. This is not going to be one that a lot of people are picking. In fact, right now, with the number 4, Fly the Sky, it is a horse that's 10% picked. So 24-11 is like 4th or 5th choice so far, which is sort of where I kind of pegged this horse.
Sure. I like that horse, and I gave it a lot of consideration. The habitual off slow is habitual off slow with no corresponding gait workouts afterwards. Like, I feel like you at least need some practice at that point. That was my only concern, but I don't dislike the pick.
And one of the other angles like that I didn't mention, but the presence of Johnny V, a new veteran rider for a horse that's like, if you're going to try to get someone to fix those gait habits, who better than someone like
try Hall of Famer, right?
A veteran who has been in every situation on every type of horse you could possibly imagine. So not that he's Mr. Fix-It, but he is riding so well right now. He's got to be extremely confident about everything that's happened so far since the move to Southern California. And now they put him on a horse who's had some trouble. This could, if this were me or you, we are very confident people. I'd be like, I can fix this, right? I'm going to make sure this horse doesn't break. We're not going to get in trouble. Like, I'm doing this. We're going to get a better trip today. So that's sort of the way I approach this horse. This is a horse who I'll probably play. If he's over 5-1, I'll bet a few bucks to win on him too, because he's due for a little bit of luck. But again, if he starts slow, it's my own fault. I know that, but make sure that's built into the price. That's why you don't play a horse like this at less than 5-1. You want to make sure that he is at least that or over, because it's built in, and that'll probably build into the the lack of this being a horse that everybody gravitates to in the Saturday prop. So where did you end up?
When I looked at this, I thought there were only really 2 directions to go. It was either the 2, which I passed on, or the 10. Ian Glass, which in my mind I kept morphing into Ira Glass, as in like the host of This American Life on NPR. I really like Ian Glass. For one, I feel like this horse is going to get a natural pace setup because there's so much pace in this race, and also, I mean, really impressive finish last time on the downhill turf after a stumbled start. Rallies from 5 lengths back at the first call to finish second by a neck. So I like the ability to close. You got Jersey Joe up, who Jersey Joe is definitely not Velasquez or Pratt, but it's not like he's a bad jockey by any means, and he's certainly a veteran. So I thought that Ian Glass was going to be the horse that was going to end up picking up the pieces in this race. I know a lot of people went with me. I think that's probably that the contest doesn't necessarily reflect what the board is going to look like, because I don't think that this horse is going to take that much money live on the board.
I totally agree on that. And it's so wide open that people will end up sort of gravitating to someone a little bit more than the odds would reflect. But let's pull up the contest props and just kind of go over those fourth and fifth one more time. So you ended up going with the ninth race and the final race as the big blow it up race. And in the fifth, I'm on the 4, Fly the Sky. Wolf is going to Ian. Glass on the outside. Other horses that are going to be taking a lot of support in here, we can see Via Ignatia, no doubt. I'm sure the 1 Never Have I Ever will continue to take some support. You'll get See Through It taking some support. Also, Castle at 14% is also taking some support. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of money spread out in this race. It should, the 24 will probably even out, I think, to probably like 20, right? 18-ish for your horse. I think.
I would guess so. Yeah.
And I think my 10% might even trickle down a little bit because it's difficult. The races for the card on Saturday, there are a couple races, we were talking about it. The stakes races, if they would have been selected, they're a little chalkier, right?
Right.
And sometimes you just don't want to always just pick the stakes or have the stakes on there because it's on there. Like the Santa Ynez isn't going to be the biggest field in the world, but a couple of the races that were selected are very, very challenging handicapping races. They're ones that you can make cases for many, many. So that's the first half of the contest. Well, sort of, we're up to 6. So we're halfway home now as we get to the Cowboys Eagles line. And I mean, this one I sort of looked as win or lose. I took this as an immediate freebie based on the line movement. Because of all the line movement right now, this line is Dallas -4. So I think that since it goes through a key number from 7.5 through 7, all the way down to 4, I think you got to take Philly where you can get that extra built-in points. We both talked about how neither of these teams has really any incentive to do a whole ton. And in that case, both of them are going to have some COVID issues. Just give me the team that is going to be the dog, just give me the points in that situation.
Yeah. I know the line is moved. But I'm so afraid that the Eagles will be able to do absolutely zero on offense with with all their issues. With all their issues that they're, especially because it's on the offensive line. I don't see Jalen Hurts necessarily playing a lot. So if they put Gardner Minshew in, who can sling it around, are they even going to be able to protect them? How long does the Dallas' starters come in? I honestly think that even if the Eagles come out and score 0 points, if the Cowboys put in Cooper Rush, they could still probably win by 10. So I went ahead and just took the Cowboys there.
Okay, Cowboys for Wolfie. I'm going Eagles. I'll take those extra few points that we're getting here and just hope that I'm on the right side of the movement as we get to number 7. And we head back to Santa Anita for some racing. And in race number 7, Chase, tell us who you like and who you'll be using in the contest.
Yep. It was really hard not to take one of these first-time starters, but I ended up settling on the 2, which I'm not even going to pronounce because I will probably tragically over-French that name. But the Doug O'Neill with Mario Gutierrez up 3-1.
That's always so safe. The Doug O'Neill, right? The La Demu et Toi.
Very nice. Very nicely done. Even if I were French, I would still butcher that name somehow. The horse has shown the ability to pass horses. You're adding Lasix for the first time. They thought enough of this one to enter it in the Zuma Beach at Santa Anita on the day before.
And open in that race.
So had a little bit of a step back against California bred maidens last time, but I kind of feel that the horse has a real serious AB kind of pattern, and it's sitting on an A performance for this one. And with that and the ability to pass other horses, I thought that this might be the safest pick of the pick'em contest when it comes to the horse races.
Yeah, the 2 for Chase. I am actually going to be the chalk eating weasel in here. I played Bonnie Bray, I think in both of her starts so far, and she has had some legitimate trouble in both. And she's another one who's actually been a little bit off slow, but I don't know, and no, not disparaging Franco at all, but I think Fabian Pratt is an upgrade over anybody in any jockey. Like I would think that, like, honestly, Pratt on any horse for my personal taste is always an upgrade.
Yeah,
to anyone. So I just think that in a situation similar to what I was saying in the other race, where you have a horse that has trouble, and then you have a rider right now that we're going to talk about a stat in a minute when we get to another one of these props, that Johnny V and Pratt are just, they are in a zone, Chase. We see it in all sports, right? Where you just get hot. Baseball, you hit everything. Basketball, you're making every shot. Football, you're hitting the right holes. You're running the great routes. You're just perfect timing with everything. And these guys are making all the right moves. They're getting, and what ends up happening, they're getting live mounts. They're taking advantage of those live mounts, and then they're getting more live mounts because of it. And that just is what happens, right?
Yep. It's just success begets success, pretty much. There's a reason why these people get live horses all the time. And some of it has to do with who but a lot of times it has to do with how you ride them.
Yeah. So we'll both be a little chalkier in race number 5 for prop, in race number 7 for prop number 7. And this one's just a straight pick the winner of. Bonnie Bray has 45%, and La Demu Etoile it's kind of fun. Yeah, it's kind of fun. You should look in the mirror and say it a few times, and shout out.
I gotta try this. Hold on. La Edu Etoile.
Okay, there you go. La Demu. I think it's de. I think it's du de or de de.
La Demu Etoile.
There you go. There we go. You got it. There we go. We'll work.
I'm more French. I'm more like French Canadian. Like
anyone that's French out there, if we're offending you, I really apologize. I'm not. I'm not like. I'm trying to say it. We were trying to say it.
100% offended. Guaranteed offended.
Legitimately trying to say it. So if you want to like make a pizza reference at me because I'm Italian, that's fine. But I mean, I apologize. I wasn't trying.
Yeah. And I'm just a mutt. You just hurl an insult at Western Europe and you probably got it. So
there you go. Shout out to our buddy Barry, the sniper. He liked Emerald Lake on a stable duel stream that we did earlier this morning. So he thought that one had a little bit of a shot too. Let's get to number 8, and let's go back and take a look at the contest now for prop number 8. And we pick back up pick'em.santanita.com. That's the place you need to be. If you ever have a question, if you're watching this and you start filling something out or you're not sure, you messed something up, let me know. Let Chase know. We'll do our best to help you out. It's not once you figured it out a few different times, then it'll be, I'm sure, very simple for you, and you'll be firing away all the time. You get alerts, you get reminders to put your picks in. They'll let you know before. And right up top, Chase, what's cool is you have the opportunity to put your selection in or edit your selection all the way up until that game or that race. So it doesn't lock right at the beginning.
Yeah, you can guarantee that not everyone is going to pay attention all the way up to post time. So maybe you can get yourself a cheap correct by changing off of a horse that's scratched to the people who aren't paying attention to.
Right, exactly. And like you were saying, nowadays with somebody maybe does this tonight, they're watching us, I'll put my picks in, or maybe you do it early in the morning and then something happens. There's another player that's missing because of a COVID protocol or something in one of these games, and things change. Just in everything you do when you're doing something for money, when you're investing your money, what's nice about this, you're investing your time, but you're not investing your money, but you're getting your money back for the more time that you put in. And that's really what it comes down to. Like, the more you put in, the better you'll do at these contests. And you can just totally have fun and just, fill one out every day, and you might be able to accumulate enough to win some money at the end, or maybe that's the day that you're just right. But try to always make any adjustments that you can as we get right up to post time, or we get right up to post time for each of these props. So where we are now for number 8, which of these teams will have the most rushing yards on Sunday? You and I were talking a little bit about this one before we came on, and these two games in particular, the Chiefs Broncos and the Cowboys Eagles game, they've showed up in a lot of these props. So these are games that are kind of very important to this Saturday contest, and they're very difficult to get a real grasp on because of all the variables with a Broncos team that has nothing to play for, the Cowboys and Eagles who don't really have much to play for and are going to be without a bunch of players likely because of COVID protocols. So how did you handicap this prop?
I really kind of had to try to think out each situation. I don't think that the Cowboys are just going to say, okay, we're resting the starters, but Tony Pollard and Zeke, you guys tote the rock 50 times.
Right. Very much agree.
I don't think that the Eagles are going to be able to run the ball because they've got COVID issues with the offensive line. The Chiefs have never been able to run the ball. So how is this not the Denver Broncos? To me, it's a no-brainer. It's got to be the Broncos.
Totally agree, right? You think about who wants to actually run the ball here. And I mean, it's got to be the Broncos. I don't know why Denver is going to try, or I don't know why Dallas is going to try over and over and over to pound the ball. Kansas City, that's just not them. That's just not their style at all. And the Eagles, they do that so well, but why are they going to risk any of their most valuable runners of the ball?
Repeatedly? Yeah, I mean, because where does most of their rushing production come from?
Hurts.
Yep.
And even if it's games where it's maybe 30% Hurts and 70% it's because of Hurts. It's because of the option of Hurts, right? The possibility of him running that opens things up for the other guys there too. So if he's not in there and you're not going full throttle with that, no thank you to no thank you there on that one. So I'm with you. We're going Broncos. And like a very simple stance, Denver had 154 rushing yards versus Kansas City on December the 5th. They only had 83 last week against that really bad Chargers, awful D. So I think they're going to want to just try to run the ball again. There's Locke that's here. Williams is number 1 in the NFL with 31 broken tackles. And Gordon is actually number 6 in the NFL with 20 broken tackles. So these are guys that even if they try to stack the box against you, if they get enough touches, they can break them. They can break a big run.
Yeah. It's worth noting the date that game happened, because this wasn't this was by the time
December 5th.
This was when the Chiefs were back, when they'd figured out their defense
playing very well.
This is when there's fixed, and that's still a pretty good amount of rush yards.
Yeah. That's number 8. We're both going to go Broncos. And I just think people, the Broncos aren't a very good, but one of the things that the Broncos have been good at and have wanted to do is run. Yeah, that's just something that they always want to do, and they want to establish that. They have their staff that's very sort of old school defense, run the ball. So, we're on the Broncos here for number 8. Let's get to number 9. We head back to Santa Anita. Let's go back to Daily Racing Form and pull up race number 9, past performances. So tell us a little about your thought process for the 9th. This is the race that you thought was also kind of crazy and could get a little wild. And I think the lukewarm morning line favorite is 7-2.
Yep. And I've got a 30-1 shot for you that you're not going to have to scroll very far for whenever you pull up race 9 on the past performances.
Okie dokie. I like it. So tell us why you're going inside in race number 9.
Number 1, hot lady or hot lady. I think it's hot. I'm going to say hot. You have a bobble break first out. Next out, horses eased. I absolutely love betting back horses that were eased, walked off, vanned off. Those horses have a way of just freaking their next time out. I believe our last stream show, I did the exact same thing with the other Bob Baffert Calypso. The horse was eased last out after it bled.
And comes there are things you want to look at too, right? Like you get the Lasix here, right? You get a very nice, steady pattern of works leading into this.
And I had a bobble break. I'm seeing a gate work last out. I got what I'm looking for. It's its first on turf, but I'm looking and I'm seeing a fairly respectable, Tomlinson figure on the turf too. It tells me that there's a little bit of pedigree there.
Just check out exact turf stuff and turf. There haven't been a lot of direct siblings here for the dam. But that's what's great about these daily racing form past performances. You can one click right here to pedigree. You can see what some of the direct siblings have looked like. And in the career debut, this is also a horse who ran into Grace Adler, and Grace Adler came out of that win. And in her next start, she won the Del Mar debutante by 11. So that was back in September. So, I mean, it was really no shame in getting beat by Grace Adler there. One of the horses that she ended up finishing in front of came back to win a maiden 50 on the grass too. So pretty cool, as you can click from pedigree and then boom, 2 seconds later, you're right in the charts. That's what's so great about these DRF past performances, and you can purchase them at shop.drf.com. If you like what you see right here, it's super easy. And that paper form is so nice. It's great, but it's nothing like being able to click all around one click, boom, 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 and get all that information.
But so, yeah, Gino, I look at the first running line when it made its it's a first time start. Bobble break, but when you see a bobble break, it still rushes up and is 1.5 lengths off at the first call. And then kind of packs it in. That just smacks to me of a horse that wants to be on the lead, needs to be on the lead, didn't make it, gave it up, and is a threat to get out and just speedball on the front the very next time out.
Drew the rail that first time, so they just a step slow, and that's the rail first time out of the box too,
right?
You know, hard. And then you're here up and you're in that tight kind of rushed up spot there, and that's just not the easiest of trips for a firster. See, you're buried behind horses here, while the easiest of winner is able to just cruise up along the outside. Yeah, this was not the smoothest of trips at all. And Wolfie is looking for a big price to close things out. That's why he selected Santa Anita's 9th race as the race that's going to have the biggest payout, because he has picked a 30-1 shot right on top. I went a little more formful. I went to the 3, another speed horse in here. And I like what I've seen in back-to-back from the 3 Phenom. Career start number 1, sat a little bit. Last time out, I think they just got aggressive in a situation where they felt like they may have had the best horse. His horse was 5-2 there and went a little bit too quick. And now you just got to ration that speed a bit better. I didn't see Hout Lady, and it's probably you and me with our horses as far as, battling for the front end. And I don't think there's that much other speed in here. And that's probably why we both went the way we did, because if one of the 2 of these horses can get clear, they could very easily get very brave in here.
Just a handicapping tip to anybody who's watching who might be new. When it comes to maiden races, there are a lot of times that you want the horse, unless someone has shown the ability to pass, you want the horse that's going to dare other horses to pass it in the stretch.
Absolutely. Some, especially maidens, and then the lower the level that you get with the horses that haven't won as much, that's the absolute truth, because they just haven't shown it. They sometimes kind of pack animals, right? They just sort of run around in a group with everybody else. At least we know these horses can get out front and sometimes run them off their feet. So we're both looking for some speed in horses in races, in race number 9.
Very smart to clarify there. Very smart to clarify.
Just in horses, as we get to number 10. Where are we going for prop number 10? Okay, this was the one that's a little bit intriguing. So we actually can pull up the entries here and get probably just a little easier overall look. Let's see if I can get the Saturday entries up. But there was the stat that I sent you that said, this was from Brad Free. And actually, Brad Free tweeted it, and it was from John Lindo. Both of them do a great job. Brad Free at DRF, John Lindo, I've heard him for many years. He does a great job hosting the radio shows in the morning down here. John Velasquez and Flavian Pratt are the meet leaders. And so this was coming into Friday. So this is nothing involving Friday's races with this, but they had won 47% of the races in the first 5 days of the meet so far. 47%
ridiculous
out of 50 races.
That's insane.
So
bananas. Any other synonyms? All of the synonyms for crazy. That's crazy how well they're riding right now.
Nuts. And so that's what the prop that we're actually gonna get to in a second is how many combined wins on the card will they have? So we can pull up the entries and we go through. So I started just listing, at all the races that they're in. Is that kind of how you just kind of went through and like looked? So I think
yeah, absolutely.
I think we've got Pratt in the 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. He has 6 mounts. Johnny V is in the 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. He has 7 mounts. And they're on so many that are just chalky again, that are going to be like super live. So talk us a little bit about through your process here and sort of what conclusion you came to.
Sure. So when I do these, I even though they only ask for specific races, I always, because of questions like this, I always go through and I handicap the entire card. I always just go through and make sure that I know everything, because you're going to have one of these all-encompassing questions.
Which race this is, and if you haven't looked at it, then you're not going to know. And you know what? You're already going to be looking at a few other things, and you handicap the race, and you're probably going to find a couple horses that you want to bet on sometimes throughout the card anyways, right?
Right.
Nobody's had to twist our arm to ever handicap a race and put a few bucks in before, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so I went through and I looked at how many contenders that I had, looked at all the contenders that I had in each race. And I was like, okay, yes, I think Pratt or Velasquez can win this. Yes, I think Pratt or Velasquez could win this. Then I also thought of that stat that you gave me, 47%. What's 50% of 9? It's 4.5.
Yep.
So I could go where everyone else picked, 3 to 4, or I could take the other side of that half and say 5 to 6. And to me, 5 to 6 is the way to go. 100% the way to go.
Yeah, me too. And, we use that overall number, and then you can dive into it specifically. I actually gave out on my Santa Anita picks on the website that I post, I gave out Johnny V in the 2nd and the 5th in races where he's 9-2 and 10-1.
Right.
Which is hilarious. And so those are 2 of his least likely winners on paper. And I actually like those horses. So for me, particularly on Saturday, I think they're both going to have a pretty, I think this number is going to be very high, because I hope at least one of those 2 horses wins. But if things went great for me, both of them win. And then all of a sudden he's at 2 with 2 races where, he probably wasn't even the most likely winner. In the 4th race, Pratt is 2-1 and Johnny V is 9-5.
Right.
I chalked that up as a win for one of them.
Absolutely.
In that race. In the 6th race, Pratt is 9-5. Johnny V is 8-5.
Yeah. I
chalked that up as a win for them.
Yeah. If you hit that exacta, congratulations on your $2.
In the 8th race, they are 8-5 and 9-5 again.
Yep. And one of them on the Baffert. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's 3 races where they're both the chalks and they're 2-1 or under. In the 9th race, they're both on 7-2 shots. That's a wide open race, but those are still morning line favorite range type horses, or horses that are going to battle for favoritism.
Yep.
And that doesn't even count the other 2 that I like Johnny V on, or the other 5-2, 3-1 horse that Pratt is on.
Right.
So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I ended up 5-6 right there with you, because I thought there were at least 3 that I was for sure that they were going to win. One of those 3, one of those 2 was going to for sure win 3. And that leaves 5 other races that have opportunities for them to win. So,
yeah.
I didn't want to go 7 or more, because that's too, they would literally have to ping every one of their mounts all the way through. But, 5-6 feels pretty safe.
I mean, even if just one of them has a great day at 4 wins, then the other one just has to get 1. If one gets 3 and the other gets 2, that's probably about average for what they're doing on a card at this point.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. It is. Here's another fun one. So how many times will the number 1 win on Saturday? One thing we know for now, at least, there will be 9 number ones, right? It's not like how many times will the 10 win, and there's not 10s in some races. We know in every race there's at least a 1 as of now. So you want to check the scratches before this happens. But how did you? So I guess I went through all the ones and I listed the odds: 30 to 1, 8 to 5, 20 to 1, 10 to 1, 5 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 9 to 5, 20 to 1. And then just, because 3 of those times it's Pratt also on the 1, who we think will probably win at least, 1 of those at the very least, for him out of 3, probably more like 1.5 with as well as he's riding. Talk us through your thought process here.
Sure. I mean, I thought that the Baffert horse Under the Stars is your most logical winner in the Great Stakes race in the feature. Sitting in the 1 hole right there. So that's 1. I already told you who I like in the 9th. Yeah. I'm not changing my mind. I love this horse at 30 to 1 from the 1 hole.
Exactly.
Then going back through, I just took a look at how many horses in the rest of this card that I really liked and thought they, I could consider to win. And I had to say 4 or more. I think you might have a hot 1 hole on Saturday.
I went 3 and 4, and it was for either one of those 2 for me, 3 or 4 or more. Because like we said, you made a case for a longer price that you like. And then we've got Pratt 3 times on horses that are going to be very live. We've got horses that are 8 to 5, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 9 to 5, and 5 to 1. And then some of the bigger prices were ones that we like. So, awesome stuff. Yeah, that was that was our next prop as we go from number 11 to the final prop. I'm on 3, Chase is on 4 or more, and that could be a really nice one if you're able to hit the 4 or more, because there are not going to be that many people that go for the biggest one like that. And a lot of people will play that more conservative, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think that from what I've watched from Santa Anita, it is kind of hard to win from that 1 hole, but I also think that you've got the jockey talent and also the horse talent to kind of overcome that in some spots. And sometimes talent just outruns track bias.
Yeah. And there are enough route races on the card. The first 4 races on the card are all routes.
Yeah, the horse can tip off a rail in a route race anytime.
It makes it a lot easier than the sprint races sometimes where you get shuffled. And then in some of the sprint races, if you're a horse like, Never Have I Ever, who's got some speed from the inside, it may not hurt you quite as much, if you can flee it. So, yeah, fun with the rail. As we get to our final prop, we go to number 12, and this will be the largest margin of victory on the Santa Anita card. There are a couple short fields. There are a couple big chalks. Kind of went through a few of those races where Pratt and Johnny V are both on heavy chalks. I just felt like in one of these situations, we'll have a horse that wins by 5. Dirt track out here, sometimes you get a little bit more speed favoring. So I ended up going with the popular play on the over.
I went ahead and went under.
Nice. Cool.
The one race that scared me that I thought something could happen where you could have just like a massive winner who pours it on late was maybe the stakes race. But there's another horse in there with that Johnny V is on that I think there's probably going to be these 2 horses pretty close together to the end. And through some of these, I mean, there were a lot of maiden races where I could really see kind of just like blanket finishes in some of them. So I thought that you might not have any just like big blowout winners. And so I went ahead and went under, but I don't feel great about it, but I still think it's going to be the under.
Chase and I differ on prop number 12. We remind you one more time before you finalize your entries, make sure you don't skip over that total tiebreaker there. And what's cool, anytime you punch it, you'll get an answer right there. It'll say your tiebreaker has been submitted. If you change your pick, you'll get an alert. Your pick has been made, which is really great. You change it back, you'll get another alert. Your pick has. So this site is really fun, and it's the format of it. Chase is one thing. As someone who I know you and I have played a lot of fantasy, daily fantasy, different types of apps, gambled on different types of site. this is done very well. It's super user friendly and it's really easy to just click, see the percentages of everything. And it you know, once or twice, once you filled out your entry, it's pretty simple and pretty basic to get done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not overloaded with a bunch of extras or anything that you sometimes don't need and that are get in the way. It's exactly what it should be. It's simple to use, it's simple to play, and anyone can do it.
Chase, my man, you have selections right now every day. Tell us a little bit about where we can find some of your selections and some of the packages and the work that you're doing.
Yeah, sure. I do a daily tip sheet for Oaklawn Park that the people at Horse Racing Nation have been nice enough to sell through their website. If you go to picks.horseracing.com, you can find me on there. I think I'm on like page 3 of the picks. I'd like to be page 1, no big deal.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
Yeah, I'm working my way up.
Yeah.
But yeah, full card analysis. I mean, it's going to give you, I'm going to give you what I think of each race, written description. I'm going to give you selected bets. I'll just tell you who my top 4 are also. And so you can play it how you want to play it. Or if you feel like you need a little bit of help, you can read into my notes. It's available daily for $9.99. And I also got 30-day plans for $49.99, which is, 30 days from the time you subscribe.
It's an incredible deal there. And this man is very hardworking, and we are lucky to have him with us each and every week. Folks, we're going to be here with you every Friday, and we'll be here every Friday at 6:00 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go for about an hour or so. We'll get through all of the props, however long that takes us. And I think in the next few weeks, we'll start having some a little handicapping on the show too. We'll talk about a couple of the final races on the card at Santa Anita. We'll mix that in, and we'd love to hear from you if any of you are watching and get involved in the prop contest. If you have any horses that you like or any opinions on any of the games, props. What's cool is that next week it's going to be playoff time in football.
Right.
We're going to have some really important playoff games that are going to be in the mix here for Saturday and Sunday. And now we are just talking about the Saturday contest. We'll do these weekly for every Saturday, but there are also contests every Sunday that you can get involved in. Same exact sort of thing. Same combination of props. There are always 12 and the tiebreaker. Make sure you fill out that tiebreaker. Make sure you punch it through. Chase, buddy, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and good luck to you with your pick 'em props. Good luck with all your Oaklawn plays this weekend.
All right, thank you, and always, man, thank you for having me.
Pick'em.santanita.com. That is the place to go. That is where you go to check out and to register, to sign up. If you need any help, let us know. Good luck on a very nice Saturday card over at Santa Anita.